So I got a question for you. What kind of person are you? Are you a person that has big lofty dreams and you set these outlandish goals and you strive for them and you do your best to achieve your goals and you see that finish line and you scratch and you claw and you crawl your way there, right? Until you see your goals, until they're tangible, right? Until you can physically touch them. Or are you the kind of person who when the tough gets when it gets tough, when it gets really gritty, you start folding and withering and you allow yourself to collapse under the pressure. Like what kind of person are you? You know, we all project to the world that we're some kind of superwoman or some kind of superman. We all project this out, but inwards, we know the truth. So now where am I going with that? So every time I go online, I keep seeing these things about systemic racism, right? I see it everywhere. The police are hunting us and all kinds of outlandish things. And, you can't get jobs and you can't get this. Now, I'm not sure I buy into all of that. Now a big part of it is it's the mindset, the victimization, the victim mentality has to stop. You cannot move forward being a victim. The victim always loses. I don't know if people understand that. Okay, the victim always comes out in last place. Your perception is reality. So if you see yourself as a victim, you are living in fear. Nothing good can come from fear. Okay, that dream you want, you're not going to get it living in fear. Nothing good comes from fear. Only bad comes from fear. And your body will produce chemical changes to in line with your perception, right? To make sure your perception becomes reality. So if you're living in fear, your body produces nothing good, right? It doesn't matter your diet. It doesn't matter any of that. You're filling your body with anxiety, stress, hatred, right? All those things that are fear. There's only two, right? There's only fear and there's love. So everything that's not love is fear. So if you're living in fear, you can't win. Okay? Now, I've heard everything, right? Like, oh, Rob, it's different for you because you're not really black, you're yellow. Right? The soles of my feet are darker than you. Right? You've been laying out in the moonlight too long. That last one I might have made up, but you get the point. Now, and I've been discriminated against. I've heard the whole unprovoked "I'm not racist" spiel that they give you. I've heard it. I've been there. And I'm not saying that racism and discrimination is not real, because it is, and you can't deny it. But what I am saying is you cannot allow it to cripple you, because you automatically become a loser. And when we teach it to our children, we teach our children to be losers. Right? So we got to get over that. Now here's the thing. If you want to have power over people and you want to oppress people and you want to keep them subordinate, right? You have to identify the differences amongst the people. Example, skin color, right? Dark skin, light skin, right? Hair texture. Some have nappy hair like me. My hair gets really nappy. Some people have finer, or what we would call white people hair. Right? You have to point out those differences. And then you have to treat those people differently according to their attributes. So maybe the light-skinned ones can come in the house and the dark-skinned one stay in the field. Right? Because you can't allow them to come together and form a union. You have to create that conflict. So they'll keep butting heads. So they can't come together and overthrow you. Right? And if the oppressor does a well enough job, if they do their job right, they can take that proverbial boot off of the oppressed next. And the oppressed will begin to oppress themselves. So I will oppress my children, and I'll oppress my neighbor, and I'll oppress the neighbor across the street. So now the man who's above us, he doesn't need to oppress us anymore. The people that we're saying are out hunting us, they don't need to hunt us because we do it for them. They don't need to discriminate against us. We do it for them. And that's the times we're living in. That's the world we live in and we allow to exist. So you gotta think about that. God bless.